Scorchers!
We've got to start like we started last week. Okay, we start like we started last week. This game will be over in the first quarter.
We're at the home of the Scorchers Academy, which is in affiliation with Three Rivers Academy. We made the partnership 2 years ago now. This is my first year in charge as head coach, and we're just trying to build a good academy program. I have found some things difficult, but obviously I've been exposed to the coaching environment, obviously being around my dad. I see what he's had to do, so I've kind of picked things up as I've gone along. The transition for me this year has been, I found it pretty easy. You know, there's a few challenges, but I found it pretty easy, and I've always had it in my mind that I wanted to be a coach at some stage. So for it to be actually happening now, I think is great.
All right, we got to take it seriously from the get-go. Okay, don't let them get comfortable. All right, don't let them get comfortable. You just stood there. There's a defender here. Move. Gives him an angle. All right, you've got to give each other angles.
The great thing about our academy is that we have players of different levels. The elite players get exposed to the BBL, they get to sit on the bench, they practice with the BBL team, so that's good for them. And then obviously the beginners, you know, we're working with them to get them up to a level where hopefully one day they can be practicing BBL. Their exposure to the BBL team is great. It opens their eyes, it shows them, you know, what things are like on the next level. A lot of them that do want to go on to play Division I basketball in America can see the level of players. Obviously, we got 3 Americans who all played Division I in America, so them going up against them week in, week out in practice shows them the standard they need to be at. The main thing is where these boys go after this. If I can get, you know, 4 or 5 of them into university, not necessarily just to play basketball, but onto university so they can get their degree, that's success for me. So Teo's been assisting me throughout the year. It's always good to have an assistant, you know. I use Teo as the bad cop, so I'm good cop, he plays bad cop, so we're very different in our coaching ways. I try to, you know, remain calm. I'm not a massive shouter, I'm a quiet person as it is, so Teo, you can see him active on the sideline, jumping around, waving his hands. Everyone can hear him in the gym, which is good for these guys, and it shows, you know, that like the captain of Surrey Scorchers is actually invested into wanting to help these kids progress onto something after the academy.
So do you think maybe when his boys get a little bit older that maybe you'll have to coach them instead of him if he gets that passionate?
I mean, I feel like at some point I'll probably end up coaching little TJ and Remy. But I'll have to keep Teo and his wife away because I know they'll be super into it. So I might have to, you know, keep them at arm's length, and hopefully they trust what I'm doing with their boys.
So basically we're like a normal sixth form students. We come to school, we do all our A-levels and lessons. Then we'll do training alongside that. So sometimes we'll train in the morning, mostly in the evenings, like 3 till 5. Then if you get called up, then you also train with the BBL team.
Yeah, it's great to be able to combine the school with getting to play with professional guys on a weekly basis. So it's good.
Yeah, because most academies like don't let you train with a BBL team. So to be linked with a BBL team, we get to be around with people like Teo, Kaylin, Willie. We get to see what it's like to be actual pros, and we've got expectations to be like them.
Yeah.
So.
And what's it like training with guys who have been in basketball for years and who are, you know, real professionals?
It's tough because not only do they have the experience, but they're also just so much stronger than you. They're faster. Everything you do, you just need to do like
10 times better.
10 times better and faster. There's no room for error. So to be able to do that every week, it really helps us develop. So that's great.
And like when we get to sit on the bench and take part in that, that's like a whole nother experience because we get to see what like Creon does in certain aspects of the game, how they're gonna set up the next play, make sure it's executed right. So yeah, that's definitely a big factor of like our improvement as a player.
And also just being able to come to the games around 2 hours before and shoot around with everyone. That's really unique because it gets you in the right mindset for the games that you can then bring down to the academy team and then use those positive things to, you know, get this team better as well. So that's great.
Yeah.
And what does it mean to you to be part of this academy and obviously to be mixing with these guys?
Oh, it's a great honor. It really is to be able to wear the same shirt, even with the same BBL logo. Like when you step on the court with that every time, it like raises your level and your focus.
It makes you play harder. Yeah.
So today we're running Basketball for All, which is a project we've been doing throughout the season, where we get a full year group from a local primary school to come in, run a little tournament, some games, basically just trying to get more kids playing basketball and being active. A lot of them, it's their first experience of playing basketball, first experience of shooting, playing games, being around a basketball team. So to be surrounded by the calibre of player that are here is awesome. You know, we've got guys with professional experience all over Europe, all over the world. So obviously that's of no real concern to the Year 5s coming in here. They don't know what that means, but it's pretty neat to have the wealth of experience that we have working with so many kids is pretty cool.
Now the Scorchers actually coach the individual teams. You guys are quite competitive, aren't you?
Yes, of course. We definitely get involved, get very competitive. The second half of the Basketball for All is generally a tournament. We try not to keep scores, to keep it try not to get too competitive, but of course we get competitive. But it's a lot of fun.
Bro, don't be scared to tail, bro. Don't be scared to tail.
I run a lot of different schemes here at Surrey Sports Park, as well as coaching at a couple of different places in the community. I coach every day. It's a very varied job, varied role. I have a bunch of different sessions. No one session is the same, so as a coach that's challenging, but it's a lot of fun. I've played in a few different countries and always coached and been involved in the community, but you're just that much more invested when it's, you know, your hometown and people from your area, and it's cool to see basketball grow in Guildford. Like, I grew up in this area, and there was, you know, you wouldn't have had local sessions with 25 kids coming, you know, 3 different sessions running in Guildford and in the area. You just wouldn't have had that. Me and my brother travelled up to London to play our junior basketball just because there really wasn't much going on in this area. So to see that growth in the last kind of 15 years is really cool, it's wicked to be a part of it. I have an under-12s group on Tuesdays, and I have 3 kids that go to the same, that are in Year 7 at the same secondary school as me, Robro, over in Milford. I've got a bunch of kids that are at the same primary school as me. So, you know, I was the weird kid growing up, the only one that played basketball. I had to hang out with my brother's mates because, you know, there wasn't a lot of basketball players. So to see that many players is really cool, yeah.
And for potential sponsors who would like to sponsor projects like this, what would you say to them?
Give us all of your money, is what I would say. No, I think it's a great project. I think anything that has, you know, kids being active, kids playing sports, kids having new stimulating experiences is something you should get behind. And Scorchers, we're a great organisation for that. You know, we bring basketball to hundreds of kids across the community. So in my mind, a project that anyone that can should get behind.